Last night, Bernie Sanders was crushed by Joe Biden. I'll be the first to say I was wrong. I was wrong that I said Joe Biden was not going to win. He was not the front runner. And it's because the polls were showing it. He was tanking in, some of these early primary states. And I thought there's no way sleepy, creepy Joe, who can't talk straight, barely knows where he is half the time. There was one time where he actually turned his back to the audience and walked away from them talking to a wall. I kid you not. Or it was like a TV screen. I didn't think he was going to win. Well, sure enough, Joe Biden actually won the majority of states and the majority of delegates. And the reaction from the Bernie Sanders stands is a bit kind of scary and depressing at the same time. What you see on your screen right now is a video that's getting decent play, which makes some really good points. You'll notice from the response from this user, C. Rogers. But also, I'm not trying to be mean here, but I think Cenk Uygur of the Young Turks is almost crying. And I mean it. And so, look, I understand there's going to be a lot of people who have, a bit of schadenfreude, I guess. Maybe want to make fun of him or mock him. I'm not going to drag the guy for being on the verge of tears. I'm not trying to be mean, but I really do think the guy's on the verge of tears. But he says so much that really bothers me, that needs to be addressed. And I'm going to have to say, you know what, man, you will reap what you have sown. So many people on the left. Okay, so here's the thing. I've got a bunch of reactions I'm going to go through. I'm going to show you some data. But I got to start with this clip because he says some very important things. First, let me just play for you a small sample of what he says so you get a general idea of what his reaction was.
We thought look, a week ago, I would have told you, I did tell you, Super Tuesday, I think we got this. Remember, we were talking about Whisper of a Dream. I think it might be over on Super Tuesday. So I'm not saying this on behalf of TYT or anything like that. We thought it was almost over. Bernie was going to win. Now it's not over. Now we're in a tie. And now we got absolute dig-in warfare against the establishment. But we didn't start the war. They'll lie about it again. We didn't start the war. They started the war. They've been lying about Bernie Sanders. For God's sake, on Castro, I could give you 1,000 examples. Bernie Sanders said the same exact thing as Obama. Everyone on TV is lying like, oh my God, what an outrageous thing Bernie Sanders said. Obama said the same thing. No, shut up. Don't cover it. Don't cover it. Don't cover it. Obama said the same thing. Is Obama pro Fidel Castro? Same exact thing. God damn it, tell the truth. God damn it, tell the truth. If you're not going to do it, we're going to do it, okay? And so you want to go to war, we'll go to war. And that is what this is. We cannot let Biden win. Guys, not just on progressives versus establishment. This is so important. I need you to understand this. Biden is not going to beat Trump. Biden is either near senile or actually senile. Watch any of the tapes. And Biden lies nonstop. He's going to get caught. He's okay. The media is covering for him, but they're not going to be able to cover when the Republicans come for him.
And there it is. A few things. First, he's right about a bit of that. Joe Biden lies all the time. He's not going to beat Trump. Yeah. And guess what? The media does cover for him. And you can see this response that I absolutely had to throw in there. He just admitted everything that conservatives have been saying for years. The media covers for the left. They cheat, they lie. He just said it all. He denied it in the past. The kicker is he is only mad about it because his candidate is the one on the receiving end. Yup. You know what, man? I'm pretty sure, well, for one, I have been saying it all the time. Bernie supporters, you need to start calling out the lies about Trump and conservatives, the fake news machine, because it will be used against you. Oh, there it is. I don't care. They wouldn't say it. Some people did. But it only really started picking up when they started going after Bernie Sanders. So you had every opportunity to call out the fake news machine, but it benefited you, and you don't want to do it. So now I'm sitting here looking at Cenk Uygur of the Young Turks saying Biden lies, they're cheating, and I'm like, no, tell me more about how the media machine covers for Biden, how the media lies. They impeached Trump on this, and you were all about it. But Trump was doing these things to Ukraine. Maybe if you stop to think for 1 second that they were lying to protect the establishment, you'd actually have some allies in Trump supporters, though you may not like it, but at least they would stop the Democratic establishment from playing these crony games. Maybe they wouldn't win, but I'll tell you what, a lot of these Trump supporters used to be Democrats who walked away because of this. Well, you stuck around with your hope on Bernie Sanders, and that's fine. I can respect that. But the machine was rigged from the start. The game was rigged from the start. And every single time people like me, more so ambivalent on a lot of politicians, but many Trump supporters and other conservatives were saying the media lies, and you could have said the media's lying. The media's lying, Trump is bad, but we're going to win honest and fairly without smearing the guy. No, because they don't seem to think, in my opinion, I don't think he really believes Bernie could defeat Trump. You know why? He says, Joe Biden's not going to beat Trump. Okay, hold on. If you thought Bernie Sanders, policy-wise, was better than Donald Trump, why wouldn't you call out the fake news, stand next to the Trump supporters when they call it the fake news, and say, none of us want the establishment, y'all can go away, and we're going to beat Trump on policy and principle. Instead, they cheered and rallied around the resistance, pink hat people, screaming Orange Man bad, Russiagate nonsense. I don't think the Young Turks were the worst. Rachel Maddow was the worst, but they were bad. And all the other fake news, Ukraine Gate, all the scandals, everything they played into. I'm not saying the Young Turks are the worst, but it seems like the only time they call out the media is when they're on the receiving end of the fake news. Well, guess what? Could you imagine what would have happened if the Bernie Sanders coalition, which is a large portion of the Democratic Party, and basically every Trump supporter were screaming, you're all fake news? These companies would have no choice. Now, already MSNBC, they've gotten rid of Chris Matthews. They're bending the knee. So fine. They're making way on this. But I'm not confident, and I don't trust them, because you had every opportunity to say no, and you didn't do it. Now, here we are with you saying they're covering for Biden. Okay, you know what, man? I want to show you some double standards and some funny things. First, we have this. These are the results from Google for those that actually want to know the election, the primary election results. We can see that Biden has won 453. Bernie has 382. Warren has 50. So right now, there's a collective freak out. There's a trend about Bernie or bust. There are people calling out Elizabeth Warren because she's a spoiler for Bernie Sanders. Let me stop you right there. Bernie Sanders, even with her delegates, would still be behind Biden. But I do think it's fair to say, and I have said this before, Elizabeth Warren is Hillary Clinton wearing a Bernie Sanders mask. And how many of you fell for it? Many people were cheering Warren, the progressive female. No, she's not. She is staying in the race because she's Hillary Clinton in a Bernie mask dragging down Bernie Sanders. Buttigieg and Klobuchar got out and endorsed Biden. Can't you see how they've rigged this game? All right, hold on. I got to say something. I've seen a lot of people saying, Tim, they didn't rig the game. This is just the American people saying no to socialism. Whoa. Hold on. You're right. I accept that. But both can be true at the same time. I think Dave Rubin tweeted about this, saying that this isn't the DNC rigging the system. It's Americans rejecting far left crazy socialism. Yes. And they're also rigging the system. The Democratic establishment doesn't want Bernie to win. He's not a Democrat. He doesn't pay dues. He's an independent. He caucuses with Democrats. Now he's trying to win the nomination of the party. He doesn't pay dues. Pay dues figuratively and I think literally as well. He's not a member, so why would he pay them dues? But it's both. Just before Super Tuesday, the moderates bow out and then give their endorsement to Joe Biden. Elizabeth Warren, for some reason, stays in and spoils it for Bernie. Come on, man. Of course, the machine is working to hurt Bernie. But at the same time, that's only possible because many voters reject socialism. It's a combination of the two. If American voters were in favor of socialism, the moderate Democrats and the Democratic establishment would have no chance to do anything. It wouldn't matter if they endorsed Biden. It wouldn't matter if Warren stayed in. If people wanted socialism, they'd vote for it. They didn't. What really happened was, presumably, they went to the other moderate Democrats who were running and said, it's time for you to bow out. We're cutting you a deal. We're going to take care of you, but we want Biden to stop Bernie. And they did. Presumably something like that. But I don't know for sure. Now let's talk about how funny things have gotten. With Biden now the presumptive nominee, they're still under the assumption there's going to be a brokered convention, which means Biden will be the nominee. Who will win the 2020 Democratic primary? No one. 61%. So it's still up in the air. This is one of the reasons why I could be fair and say Warren and Bloomberg won't bow out. As if the super delegates and the other delegates are going to vote for them in the first place. It's not going to happen. Bernie Sanders went from like a 2 in 3 chance of being the nominee to an 8% chance. And boy, is the outrage palpable. First, let's talk about double standards. What you're seeing here on Reddit, presidential race memes. With 103,000 readers making funny jokes that I actually think are funny. I'm not trying to slam them. 9,426 points. Let me just give you all a quick explanation of Reddit for those that aren't familiar. You post an image, a link, a website or something, or a video. People then can choose to upvote or downvote. If you get more upvotes than downvotes, it starts to rise, presuming it's getting more upvotes than other things around it. It's a voting system for content that surfaces better content or content people prefer. Now, for the most part, Reddit is dominated by bots and shills for political campaigns, fine. But we can see that this post, which is titled "Me Looking at the Results So Far," has 9,426 points, 88% upvoted. I do think this meme is funny, and I get it. You're allowed to make jokes. And it is the Homer Simpson meme where he dissolves into the hedge, but then he comes back out. So here's what it is. It's Homer Simpson wearing a Bernie shirt. Seeing the results, he backs into the hedge and disappears. And all of a sudden, a man wearing a black mask and a black shirt holding a Molotov cocktail comes out. It's a joke. I get it. But let's talk double standards, because there are some subreddits that get shut down and quarantined for insinuating such political violence. Now, I know this isn't the worst post in the world. And again, I get jokes. I actually think this one's pretty funny. I'm just saying that Reddit has double standards and allows them to post things like this without question. So what ends up happening, to me, it's actually kind of funny, because when you advocate for these rules, they do it mostly, in my opinion, because they get away with it, right? The far left, the Bernie, more so the Bernie Sanders supporters than anybody else, are going to be advocating for hate speech rules and things like that. They'll post things like this and get away with it. So of course they're going to say, we're allowed to do it, until they're not. Many of us warned this would happen. This is a post I highlighted the other day where Jordan Chariton literally quoted Joe Biden and got suspended. Now, the reason I'm highlighting this in this segment is because now Joe Biden wins. What you need to understand about censorship on social media is that it's not about, Alex Jones getting banned. So it is. I mean, it is to an extent. But more importantly, it's about small accounts with 100 followers or so, regular people posting their opinions, getting purged. You don't hear their voices when they get removed because they weren't famous. When Alex Jones gets banned, it's headline news. Everybody hears about it. Now, this guy, Jordan Chariton, has a decent amount of followers. He's got 109,000 followers. That's why we're hearing about it. But here's what I want to propose. He quoted Joe Biden when Joe Biden said Super Thursday. Joe Biden literally said this and then corrected himself. I mean, Super Tuesday, he says. So Jordan was calling him out, and rightly so. Joe Biden what did Cenk Uygur say? He may be senile. Those weren't my words. Those were his. Don't get mad at me. But think about this. We only know Jordan got suspended going after Biden, a progressive, because he's high profile. Just like with Trump supporters, how many smaller Bernie accounts were calling out Joe Biden and getting banned under the rules you advocated for? Now, let me say something. The resistance people, the people who actually want Joe Biden, well, they called for these rules too. They absolutely wanted them. And then you stood alongside them. Just like when I said you need to call it the fake news, you stood alongside them. And then as soon as their time came, they slowly turned their ugly heads with a awful demonic grin. And then they come for you, putting, I'll keep the language tame for now, but going behind your back, we'll put it that way, and shutting you down. I'd be willing to bet there are many pro-Bernie progressive leftists who are small and never heard of, who called out similar things and got suspended for this, giving Joe Biden a better opportunity, shutting down criticism of him. You reap what you sow. This is the world you have wrought. And you can revel in it. It's on you. I've been sitting here screeching all day and night. And one of these troll accounts, I typically don't give them the time of day. They're like, oh yeah, Tim, if you're mad about this, why didn't you cheer on Elizabeth Warren when she was calling out Facebook? I'm like, I did. I literally cheered for Ocasio-Cortez and Elizabeth Warren for calling out big tech and the nightmare machine they have created. Yeah, what else do you want from me? I'm pretty consistent on demanding freedom and liberty and the right to express your opinions. You are the ones who have been advocating for shutting down people who make jokes and have bad opinions. But now that it's come for you, now you're all bent about it. Just like Cenk Uygur. He's all, they're covering for Biden. They're lying. Wow, that sounds familiar. We've been saying that for a long time now, haven't we? And it's not just the Trump supporters. It's the politically homeless, of which there are many people. I guess it's kind of like an intellectual dark webby kind of thing. Politically homeless individuals who are former liberals who have no problem calling out the machine, even if it's good for Trump, because at the end of the day, we need to make sure we protect the principle, not the person. So I can talk about Trump. Some Trump supporters talking about how you should be allowed to burn the flag. And I criticize that heavily. You absolutely should. You should. Any flag, symbols. But guess what? Some burning of some flags is actually a crime. But let's show you some more meltdown. This one, I love it. It's Sean King. Ladies and gentlemen, Sean King. You know him. You love him. Breaking, MSNBC and Maddow just reported that multiple senior officials within the Democratic Party are interfering with the primaries to stop Bernie Sanders. They reported that the party has asked Bloomberg to drop out so that Biden would have an easier time against Bernie. Spoiler alert, never happened. And this is where it gets nuts. Rachel Maddow actually calls the dude out. Maddow says, what? No, I didn't report any such thing. And guess what? She didn't. Sean King is lying. And I can show you why. This is the clip. Sean King tweets this saying, somehow MSNBC is now claiming that this very segment never took place. It did. Here it is. Sean King is either really dumb or he's lying. Because in this segment, I believe it's Josh Lederman is his name, not Rachel Maddow, talking to someone named him. He says, Brian. He never once says anyone was trying to stop Bernie. He said they contacted Bloomberg and told him it's time to get out of the race to support party unity. That was it. They didn't say we need to stop Bernie. We didn't say we need your help stopping Bernie. It's really hard with you siphoning away votes from Biden. He said some party officials told Bloomberg it's time to bow out. But it is. It has nothing to do with stopping Bernie. It has to do with the fact that Bloomberg failed miserably. How much money did this Bloomberg guy dump into the election? I'll tell you what, man. I would like to give a formal thank you to Michael Bloomberg for dumping hundreds of millions of dollars into the ad market, jacking up ad rates, making everybody on YouTube a little bit more money. Yes, even if you don't do politics, the cost went up remarkably. And that's Tom Steyer too. So thank you for this. Everybody on YouTube now got to make a little bit of your money, ragging on you, mind you, and then you got nothing for it. And I'm so happy to say that. You want to buy your way into a race? You deserve to spend $700 million, most of it on TV, and really, really bad billboard ads, mind you. But let me explain to you guys how this works. For one, if Michael Bloomberg came to me and said, Mr. Paul, I'd like to give you $1 million to run an ad about me, I'd be like, get out of my face. I wouldn't be mean, but I'd say, no, I appreciate the offer, but you have a nice day. I'm not interested. But guess what? Bloomberg and Steyer ads still appear on my videos. So does, Bernie and everybody else. I think, Trump stuff appears on as well. But typically the Democrats are going after more so the demographics like mine, because you've got centrists and moderates they're trying to convince. So you'll see a lot of Democrat ads. I get a lot of messages from people saying that Bloomberg and Steyer appeared like crazy. Now, I can't control that. That's just how YouTube works. And I love the idea that I can smack talk these people and they pay me to do it. Now, I get it. The reason they're buying ads on my content is so that they can counter the smack talk. But hey, it's better than the shills who actually took his money to prop him up. That's gross. But here's the best part. He tried to buy his way in. He got on the debate stage. He got in the we got 44 delegates. Congratulations. I think he won American Samoa. Like, bravo, good sir. I mean it. You were able to convince American Samoans, America Samoa to vote for you. All right, that's respectable to a certain degree, but an abysmal showing nonetheless. What happens with the ad market is that for every ad Bloomberg and Steyer buys, they're essentially decreasing supply and increasing demand. So ad rates started to go up substantially, around 20%. But mind you, this isn't just for political commentary, because Coca-Cola, Pepsi, Oreo, whatever, mainstream brands want to advertise on all sorts of content as well. There is finite space on YouTube for advertising. But for the most part, when you have someone dump $700 million into the ad market in the span of only a couple months, the way the ads are divvied out is an auction system. So Bloomberg says, I'm willing to spend 5 cents for every view my ad gets. So if YouTube is looking at all the companies that are offering, who wants to buy, if Oreo says we'll do 3 cents, guess who gets the ad? Bloomberg, because he paid more. That means Oreo, to beat Bloomberg, has to now say 6 cents, 7. It's an auction system, and the prices went up, I think, around 20%. So my personal thank you to the billionaires who wasted their money only to lose. And then other YouTubers, not just me, got to make a little extra money off of their idiocy. Congratulations, Michael Bloomberg. It's time to bow out. So there is still a lot more going on. But what I'm going to do, for those that are listening on the podcast, you've gotten the main segment already. But for those that are listening on YouTube, I'm going to do a bigger segment because voter turnout's nuts. We got a lot of data to go through. And I'm going to say this right now. The turnout and the numbers we're seeing absolutely predict a Donald Trump landslide. Now, you're going to hear from Democrats. They're screeching about how their voter turnout is great. Actually, Donald Trump personally rivaled the turnout in at least one state. So I'm going to go through the data. I think we're looking at a major landslide for Trump. But hey, hubris will be the downfall for Trump, so I could be wrong. I'll leave it there. Stick around. Next segment's coming up at 1 p.m. on this channel, and I will see you all then.